Welcome back to Leaders and Legends on WDUR 1490 AM, and you're listening to, you're with your host, Steve Rao. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem of Morrisville and a leader here in the community. And we've got with us Jim Rose. He's the co-chair of NC Connect. And Jim, thank you. We've had a wonderful discussion, and to sum up, we've talked about the bond, NC Connect. You can go to votetoinvest.com, and this bond really is an investment mostly in higher education, technology, science, engineering, and math. Investment in our parks, our National Guard, with this notion of investing in these rural communities and better connect them to the urban areas and getting our state caught up.
Right.
With the fact that we've added 2 million people in our state since 2000 when the last bond was issued.
Right.
And so we own the equivalent of a state moving in here. So, so we thank you for this information. The last question I have, and it's just something, and I'm going to put some context around it, is that in Morrisville and around this area, if you were to leave at 5 o'clock or come in at 8, the traffic has just gotten horrendous. Now, the strategic funding formula has worked under the leadership of Tata and Tennyson, and many of our road projects are moving forward. But many of us are still concerned that this bond was supposed to be $3 billion, and $1 billion was to be for transportation.
Right.
But we only got $2 billion. So can you tell me a little bit about, you're not in the legislature, but I guess that was their decision.
I think it was. I know the governor was behind it. I don't know. Sometimes I kid with people and say that's a little bit above my pay grade, but I really don't know why it was not included at this particular juncture. But I can tell you, living in Wake County, that I feel your pain. I certainly understand that. And it's fascinating to think North Carolina has grown by 2 million, but every year, over 21,000 people are added to the population of Wake County. My daughter is in kindergarten. There are 23 students in her class. 23 children are born every day in Wake County. So an entire kindergarten class is born every day. 35 new people move to Wake County every day. So every day you've got 58 new people in Wake County. And so, in a year's period of time, that just continues to build on itself. And it does. It stresses the highways. It stresses the roads that feed into the highways. So it certainly is an issue that we need to look at addressing at some future point, for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I think if we can get this bond passed, maybe we can put another bond out there to generate another $1 billion. The other idea I have is if we do another transportation bond, we've talked about it, and Secretary Scavala talked about today, the importance of broadband. So maybe looking at technology also as transportation infrastructure. You look at what Wilson, North Carolina did with Green Light and having really high-speed access.
Right.
We got Google Fiber coming in here, AT&T. But what about the rural areas? And Vanessa Harrison, who actually serves on the board,
she does,
wants to come and talk about her idea. She wants to tell her story, which is a fascinating story.
It is.
A lady that started her career as a telephone operator and is now the president of AT&T. I rest my case. Any child, my young children, that's inspiring.
It is. It very much so.
But Vanessa's talked about, the investment in education, the investment in rural internet access. So maybe that's something we can look at as a state, is that $1 billion, if the legislature could give the approval to have this kind of stuff, then we could have, more ability for these rural areas to have.
Absolutely. And you make a great point, because I think when people think about a bond and borrowing money, the concern is, are my taxes going to go up? What's this going to cost me? And the great thing is, since the last bond was passed in the year 2000, we've paid down such a large amount of our bonds that Treasurer Janet Cowell just issued an affordability study that shows that even with the new increased debt service from this bond, because we've been so judicious in paying down our prior obligations, we're actually going to have more excess now than we even had before. So there's no need for any tax increases when we vote for this bond on March 15th. You won't be voting for a tax increase. We've got enough revenue to cover it now.
Okay, I was about to ask that question. So this bond, and just to reiterate to everybody, this bond will not require a tax increase.
Correct.
Okay. And that's a great way to end this program. So tell me a little bit about, we can go to vote to invest, voteyes2invest.com.
Correct.
For anything you want to learn about this bond, you can go learn about it.
That's exactly right.
We have a primary coming on March 15th. So if you're registered to vote, it'll be on your ballot.
That is correct.
And you vote it up or down. And then if it passes, then the thing will go into implementation.
That's exactly right. Once it passes, we've got our list of projects. We've got some are shovel ready. Some will take some time to implement, but it'll be very quickly put to great use, and we're grateful for your support.
Well, we want to thank you for being here, and I always close out with just some words of wisdom, so to speak. But I think it's critically important to walk away from the show to understand a couple of things. Number one, if you're listening to this show and you're living in North Carolina, you're living in the 9th most populous state in the Union. I repeat, the 9th most populous state. This budget is $22 billion to run the state of North Carolina. And how many people, Jim, do we have living here?
10 million.
10 million. 2,000, 10 million minus 2 million is 8 million.
Correct.
So we've added 2 million in 10 years. Folks, we've got to invest in our future. And that's what NC Connect is about. It's about investing in higher education, STEM, so that our children, our grandchildren can compete in a global economy, have access to technology in rural areas, about our parks, about our keeping ourselves safe in case of emergencies.
Right.
And so that's what this bond is about. And I think sometimes people don't realize that we're seeing that kind of growth. That and even in the presidential primaries, everyone's going to be spending more time in North Carolina, because if you're running for president of the United States, and we're going to have some presidential campaigns come on this show.
Absolutely.
They've already reached out to me. We're going to get some political commentating, some candidates on here, but you're going to come to North Carolina.
Absolutely.
If you're running for the presidency of the United States, so I don't care whether it's Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, whoever wins this thing, they're coming to Carolina.
They will
Make
be.
no mistake. They're going to be coming.
All right, we're in the top 10.
We're in the top 10. We're a swing state. And so a lot of people are going to come out in this primary. But I just encourage everyone that please take a look at this vote. Please take a look at the bond. And we want to thank Jim Rose and Justice Bob Orr and Governor McCrory and even the legislators. I also reiterate, this is a bipartisan effort. So Senator Dan Blue, my good friend, I just spoke to his son a couple of days ago. He's running for state treasurer, brilliant guy. But Dan Blue, Senior, Junior, was speaking in favor of the bond.
Yes.
So this isn't a Republican issue, Democrat issue. It's everybody working together to do what's best for the state.
Team North Carolina.
Right. And we are just so excited. Next week, to end on a positive note, we have Bob Giolis, who is the president and CEO of the Resource Triangle Park Foundation and the RTP. So he is coming to the show to talk about regionalism, the future of the RTP over the next 50 years, a little bit of really interesting history many of us don't know about how the RTP came to be, what its mission is. So we encourage you to listen as well, Jim, because we'll probably be talking about NC Connect.
Absolutely, great.
Secretary Skvarla, I want to thank him for coming from Morrisville today. And one quick reminder to everybody, because I know a lot of people that listen to this show live in Morrisville. Morrisville Parkway is closed on Monday from Crabtree Crossing going towards that way. So I'm going to be putting an email out on my Facebook, but that's going to be a road closure. So if you've got kids that go to Morrisville Elementary coming away from Chapel Hill Road towards Davis Drive, it's going to be closed right near the Park West. So I hate to, that's sort of a negative note, but the positive note is you're going to get a $9 million bridge where the trains go over the cars.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Obama recovery money. But, on that note, I want to thank WDR and the team here, Ruby, and everybody here, Saya, just everyone here. Thank you so much for hosting this show. And we want our Indian American community and our South Asian community to interact with our leaders and be involved in our communities. And that's what this show is about. So this is Steve Rao signing off. And I just enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And we will talk to you next week with Bob Giolis. Have a great weekend.